The chandelier cast diamonds across marble. Simone Cartwright did not look up when Gregory Ward's voice sliced through the lobby of the Grandeur Hotel. "People like you don't belong here." She stood in her uniform, black dress, white apron, name tag polished to reflection, holding fresh linens that still smelled of lavender and steam. Her hands did not shake. Her face showed nothing at all. Just stillness, heavier than rage. Gregory adjusted his cufflinks. Italian. Probably worth more than she made in a month, he thought. He thought she thought that too. "The guests have been complaining," he continued. "You make them uncomfortable. Find somewhere else to work." Simone looked at him. Really looked. At the man who'd been manager here for 6 months. Who'd never learned her last name. Who thought the uniform told him everything. "I see," she said quietly. And she walked away. Not toward the service elevator. Toward the executive offices on the 3rd floor. Gregory watched her go, already forgetting her. He had a banquet to oversee. A wedding party checking in. Real work. He had no idea what he'd just done. 72 hours earlier the call had come on a Sunday. Simone was in her penthouse in Brooklyn. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the East River. Mid-century furniture she'd collected over 2 decades. A Kara Walker print above the fireplace. When her phone buzzed. "Private number." She answered. "Cartwright. Miss Cartwright, this is James Kwan. I'm with the Harriman Group." Simone set down her tea. The Harriman Group was old money. Real estate empire. They own half of Manhattan's luxury hotels. "I'm listening." "We're purchasing the Grandeur. The sale closes in 4 days. But there's concern. About management. Previous ownership let standards slip. We need eyes inside before we finalize. Someone who knows hotels. Someone discreet. You want me to go undercover. We want you to assess. The staff, the operations, the culture. If it's salvageable, or if we clean house entirely. $1 billion is on the line, Miss Cartwright. We need someone who understands what makes a property worth that." Simone smiled. They'd done their research. She'd spent 15 years turning failing hotels into landmarks. Started as night concierge in Atlanta, worked her way to GM in Chicago, then regional director overseeing 12 properties across the Northeast. She'd retired at 48. Too young, people said. But she'd been tired of fighting men who thought her success was luck. Now she consulted, privately, for clients who paid 7 figures for her silence and her instincts. "How long?" she asked. 3 days. Pose as housekeeping staff. Report directly to me. My rate will triple it." She paused. "Why housekeeping? You see everything. Guests don't notice you. Neither does management." Simone considered. It had been a long time since she'd made a bed that wasn't her own. "Send the details," she said. Monday morning, she arrived at the Grandeur at 6 a.m. The building was Beaux-Arts, 1920s elegance wrapped around modern guts. Limestone facade, gold trim, doormen and tails. But the staff entrance was different. Chipped paint, flickering lights, a service elevator that groaned like something dying. The housekeeping supervisor, a thin woman named Danielle with kind eyes, handed Simone a uniform and a laminated badge. "You've done this before?" "Long time ago," Simone said. Which was true. "Stick with Rosa today. She'll show you the ropes." And Danielle lowered her voice. "Keep your head down. Mr. Ward doesn't like questions." "Mr. Ward?" "The manager. He's particular." Simone nodded. Rosa was in her 50s, Filipina, hands rough from decades of work. She smiled when they met. "You're the new girl?" "Simone." "Okay, Simone. We start on 6. VIP floor. 20 rooms. Let's go." They worked in silence at first. Simone stripped beds, scrubbed bathrooms, vacuumed corners. Her body remembered the rhythm. The way you moved through a room without thinking, touching everything, seeing everything. And she saw plenty. Stained carpet in the hallways. Mold behind a bathroom mirror. A minibar that hadn't been restocked in days. But also, Rosa's pride in hospital corners. The way another housekeeper, Michael, whistled while he polished brass. The quiet competence of people who cared, even when no one noticed. "You're fast," Rosa said, impressed. Muscle memory. By noon, they'd finished the 6th floor. Simone's back ached. Her hands smelled like bleach. She loved it. They ate lunch in the basement break room. Vending machine sandwiches, bad coffee. The staff was small, tight. They joked in 3 languages, shared food, covered each other's shifts. "You meet Mr. Ward yet?" Michael asked. Simone shook her head. "Lucky you. Rosa muttered. He's not so bad, someone else said. Just corporate. He fired Talia last week, Michael said. For asking about overtime pay. Silence. Simone filed that away. She met Gregory Ward that afternoon. The wedding party was checking in. 30 guests. The bride's family clearly wealthy, the groom's less so. There was tension in the lobby. Raised voices. Gregory appeared like a shark smelling blood. Is there a problem? The bride's mother, blonde, Botoxed, dripping Cartier, pointed at a luggage cart. Your porter damaged my Louis Vuitton. The porter, a young black man named Eric, looked stricken. Ma'am, I want him fired. And I want compensation. Gregory didn't even glance at Eric. Of course. We'll take care of everything. Eric's face went gray. Simone was standing near the concierge desk, holding towels she was delivering to the pool area. She watched Gregory pull Eric aside. You're done. Clean out your locker. Mr. Ward, I swear I didn't touch her back. She's lying. Are you calling a guest a liar? Eric's jaw worked. Then he turned and walked away. Gregory smoothed his tie and returned to the bride's mother with a smile. Simone set the towels down. Walked over. Excuse me. Gregory turned. Saw the uniform. The dark skin. Dismissed her in half a second. Housekeeping concerns go through your supervisor. I saw what happened. The bag wasn't damaged. She's running a scam. His expression hardened. I don't recall asking for your input. That boy did nothing wrong. That employee is no longer your concern. He leaned closer. And unless you want to join him, I suggest you get back to work. Simone held his gaze. Gregory's smile thinned. People like you don't belong here. She didn't flinch. Just turned. Walked toward the executive offices. And Gregory, watching her go, felt the first whisper of unease. Something in the way she moved. Like she owned the place. The executive floor smelled different. No bleach. No sweat. Just leather and quiet. Simone walked past assistants who looked up, confused, as she headed straight for the corner office marked General Manager. She didn't knock. Gregory was on the phone when she entered, laughing at something, feet propped on his desk. He saw her. Stopped mid-sentence. I'll call you back. He hung up slowly. Did you just walk into my office? Simone closed the door behind her. Eric returns. With an apology. And back pay for the shifts he would have worked. Gregory stared. Then laughed. Actually laughed. You're fired. Obviously. I'm not. Security, call them. Please. Something in her tone made him stop. She wasn't afraid. Wasn't angry. Just certain. Gregory stood. 6'2". Used his height like a weapon. I don't know what you think you're doing, but you just ended your career. Get out. Simone pulled her phone from her apron pocket. Opened an email. Turned the screen toward him. Read. He squinted. A message. From James Kwan. Subject line. Grandeur assessment. Simone Cartwright. His face went slack. You're assessing whether this property is worth $1 billion. Or whether Harriman should walk away. Gregory's mouth opened. Nothing came out. Right now. Simone continued, voice soft, almost kind. I'm leaning toward walk away. I didn't know, no? You didn't. She pocketed her phone. You saw a black woman in a uniform and made assumptions. About who I was. What I was worth. It wasn't about that. It's always about that. She moved to the window. Looked down at the street. You've been here 6 months, Gregory. In that time, you've fired 4 people. 3 were women of color. All for asking questions. Requesting basic labor protections. How do you? I've been here 3 days. I ask questions. He sank into his chair. The Harriman Group is spending $1 billion, Simone said. They want a flagship property. A place that represents their values. You think they want a manager who calls guests difficult when they're black? Who pays housekeeping staff below market rate? Who fires people to protect his ego? I can change. You can leave. Silence. Just the hum of the city below. You're firing me. I'm recommending they don't retain you in the transition. There's a difference. She turned. You'll get severance. A reference, even. But you won't work here. Gregory's hands clenched. You don't have that authority. Call James Kwan and check. He didn't. Simone walked to the door. Paused. Eric comes back. Today, apologize to him yourself. And if I don't, then I tell Harriman this property isn't just mismanaged. It's toxic. And they pull the deal entirely. Gregory's face went white. You'd kill $1 billion sale over one porter? Over principle. Yes. She left. Gregory made the call 15 minutes later. James Kwan answered on the first ring. Mr. Ward, there's been a misunderstanding. Miss Cartwright is my most trusted consultant. I suggest you listen to her. She's asking me to rehire someone I fired. To undermine my authority. She's asking you to do your job. Are you refusing? Silence. Mr. Ward, we're buying the Grandeur because we believe it has potential. But potential means nothing with the wrong leadership. Miss Cartwright will submit her report in 48 hours. I suggest you make those hours count. The line went dead. Gregory sat motionless. Then he picked up the phone again. Security. Find Eric Lawson. Tell him I need to speak with him. Eric returned at 4 p.m., wary, shoulders tight. Gregory met him in the lobby. Guests everywhere. Witnesses. Eric. I made a mistake. The guest was mistaken about her luggage. You're reinstated. Full pay for the days you missed. Eric blinked. Sir, I'm sorry. The words tasted like glass. But he said them. Eric looked around. Saw Rosa watching. Michael, Danielle, and Simone, standing by the concierge's desk, arms folded. Okay, Eric said slowly. Thank you. Gregory nodded stiffly and walked away. Eric approached Simone. You did this. You didn't deserve to be fired. Who are you? She smiled. Just someone who makes beds. That night, Simone sat in the break room with the night shift. Rosa brought empanadas from home. Michael shared stories about his daughter's college applications. Danielle talked about her mother in hospice. They asked Simone questions. Where she was from. If she had kids. Normal things. She answered honestly. Mostly. And when her shift ended at 11 p.m., she took the service elevator down, changed in the locker room, and walked out into the Manhattan night. Her car was waiting. Town car. Driver in a suit. He opened the door. Miss Cartwright. She slid inside, pulled out her laptop, and began writing her report. The next morning, Gregory received an email from James Kwan. Subject, revised management structure. He opened it with shaking hands. Mr. Ward, after consultation with Miss Cartwright, we've decided to restructure leadership at the Grandeur. Effective immediately, you are relieved of your position as general manager. You will receive 6 months severance and a neutral reference. We will be installing new leadership committed to our values of equity, respect, and excellence. Thank you for your service. Gregory read it 3 times. Then he stood, walked out of his office, past his assistant, into the elevator. He didn't clear his desk, didn't say goodbye, just left. By noon, the staff knew. Danielle called an emergency meeting in the break room. Everyone crammed in. Housekeepers, porters, desk agents, kitchen staff. Gregory's gone, she said. And corporates sending new management. Nervous looks. Change was always risky. Who? Rosa asked. The door opened. Simone stepped in, still in her uniform. Hi, she said. I'm Simone Cartwright. I'll be your interim general manager while we transition ownership. Silence. Then Eric laughed. You're kidding. I'm not. You're a housekeeper. I was. For 3 days. Before that, I ran hotels for 15 years. Rosa's eyes went wide. You were undercover. I was assessing. The property. The staff. The culture. Simone looked at each of them. And I'm recommending Harriman keep every single one of you. With raises. And better benefits. Someone in the back whispered, Holy shit. Gregory didn't see you, Simone continued. Didn't value you. But I do. Because I've been where you are. I know what it takes. She paused. If you'll have me, I'd like to work with you. Not above you. With you. Silence. Then Danielle started clapping. Slowly, others joined. Simone smiled. Okay, she said. Let's get to work. The Grandeur sale closed on Thursday. Simone stood in the executive office, her office now, as the contracts were signed. James Kwan was there, along with the Harriman board, lawyers in sharp suits, champagne nobody touched. $1 billion, James said, raising his glass. To a new era. They toasted, smiled for photos. And when they left, Simone stood alone by the window, looking down at the street where she'd entered 3 days ago through the service entrance. Her phone buzzed. A text from Rosa. We're all going out for drinks. You coming? Simone smiled. Type back. Save me a seat. The next 6 weeks moved fast. Simone restructured everything. Raised wages for housekeeping staff by 18%. Implemented anonymous feedback systems. Brought in HR consultants to audit hiring practices. She promoted Danielle to head of operations. Eric became lead concierge after she discovered he spoke 4 languages. Rosa trained new hires with a patience that reminded Simone why she'd fallen in love with this industry in the first place. And the grandeur began to change. Not the bones, the marble and gold remained, but the soul, the way guests were greeted, the way staff moved through halls with pride instead of exhaustion. The reviews reflected it. Best hotel experience in Manhattan. Staff here actually care. Felt like family. James Kwan called monthly. You're making us look good, Simone. I'm making you be good. There's a difference. He laughed. When's your contract up? 6 months. We want you permanent. Name your price. Simone considered. She'd retired once. Walked away because she was tired of fighting. But this didn't feel like fighting. It felt like building. I'll think about it, she said. 3 months in, a new guest checked in. Simone was at the desk, covering for an agent on break, when a woman approached. Mid-40s. Elegant. Familiar. Reservation for Brennan, the woman said. Simone looked up. Froze. It was the bride's mother. The one who'd lied about Eric damaging her luggage. The woman didn't recognize her. Why would she? The help all looked the same. Simone checked the system. Yes, Miss Brennan. Suite 804. Welcome back. The woman nodded absently, already on her phone. Simone handed her the key card, watched her walk away, and felt nothing. No anger. No satisfaction. Just clarity. Some people would never see her. And that was fine, because the people who mattered did. That night, Simone hosted a staff dinner in the hotel restaurant. Her treat. 20 employees crammed around a long table, laughing, trading stories, passing plates family style. Eric stood, glass raised. To Simone. For seeing us. To Simone, they echoed. She shook her head, smiling. To all of us. Rosa leaned over. You know what Gregory said? People like you don't belong here. Simone nodded. He was right, Rosa continued. You don't belong here. You belong everywhere. Simone's throat tightened. She looked around the table. At faces that had been invisible to Gregory. To guests. To everyone who thought uniforms defined worth. I used to think I had to prove something, Simone said quietly. That I had to fight for every room I entered. But I don't. None of us do. We just have to be undeniable. Michael raised his glass. Then let's be undeniable. They drank. 6 months later, Simone signed the permanent contract. She stayed at the Grandeur. Not because she needed the money. Harriman's offer was generous, but her investments alone could sustain her forever. She stayed because the work mattered. Because Eric was applying to hotel management programs. Because Rosa's daughter had started college with a scholarship Simone quietly arranged. Because Danielle's mother had passed, and Simone had held her while she cried, and that mattered more than any deal. The Grandeur became a model. Other Harriman properties adopted its practices. Labor standards rose across the portfolio. And Simone Cartwright, former night concierge, former housekeeper, current GM of a billion-dollar flagship, became a quiet legend in the industry. She didn't do press, didn't chase accolades. But when young women of color reached out, asking how she'd done it, she always responded. Start where you are. Learn everything. Never let anyone tell you where you belong. 1 year after Gregory Ward's dismissal, Simone received a letter, forwarded through Harriman's legal team. Handwritten. MS. Cartwright, I don't expect you to care, but I'm writing anyway. I've spent the past year in therapy, addressing things I didn't want to see about myself. Biases I told myself didn't exist. You were right. About all of it. I don't know if I'll work in hospitality again. Maybe I shouldn't. But I'm teaching now. Volunteering at a youth center. Trying to be better than I was. I'm sorry. For what I said. For who I was. Thank you for not destroying me. You could have. Gregory Simone read it twice. Then filed it away. She didn't respond. Didn't need to. Forgiveness wasn't hers to grant or withhold. Gregory's journey was his own. She had work to do. On a Tuesday morning, 2 years after walking into the Grandeur as a housekeeper, Simone stood in the lobby during the morning rush. Guests checking out. Staff moving efficiently. Sunlight pouring through the windows, turning marble to gold. Eric approached. Miss Cartwright, there's a situation in the Rose Suite. What kind? Guest insists only the manager can handle it. Simone smiled. Lead the way. They took the elevator to the 12th floor. Walked down the hall. Eric knocked. Housekeeping and management. The door opened. An older black woman stood there, elegant, silver-haired. She looked at Simone. Really looked. Then smiled. I heard about you, the woman said. Read an article about the undercover GM who changed everything. I wanted to meet you. Simone blinked. I'm sorry. I'm Dr. Lorraine Hatcher. I run a hospitality scholarship program. We fund students from underserved communities. I wanted to talk about a partnership. Simone glanced at Eric. He shrugged, grinning. Come in, Dr. Hatcher said. This won't take long. It took 2 hours. They talked about pathways, about kids who dreamed of careers in hospitality but couldn't afford the programs, about systemic barriers and how to dismantle them. When Simone finally left, she had notes for a proposal, a vision. She took the elevator down, walked through the lobby, and paused by the service entrance. The same door she'd entered through, the same flickering light, except now it was fixed. New paint, new sign, staff entrance, all welcome. Simone touched the wall gently, then returned to her office. She had emails to answer, a staff meeting at 3, a budget to review. But first, she opened her laptop and began drafting the scholarship proposal. Because Gregory had been wrong. People like her didn't just belong here. They built the place. And when she was done, Simone Cartwright leaned back in her chair, looked out at the city she'd conquered not with rage, but with patience, and allowed herself something rare. Pride. Not for what she'd destroyed, but for what she'd built. The grandeur stood. Stronger. Better. And so did she. Unbothered. Unmoved. Exactly as she'd always been. The work continued. There was always more. But tonight, she'd rest. And tomorrow, she'd begin again.